Hey folks, it's Pat here. Welcome back to the Midland. Got a little bit of a different video for you today. Got a little bit of yard work to do here, so I figured let's fire up the OBS and give you a chance to see kind of how my yard works. So I've got a couple different things in mind today because I don't have quite enough money to buy all the things that I want, and so we need to make a little bit more money, and so it's time to get a little bit more efficient about it. And that means we need to make our mine train runs a little longer. And so I've got one set up here. This is 15 cars, plus the bulkhead flats and the hoppers way up there. This one's ready to go. But we need to make the other trains a little bit bigger. And so I'm going to take everything off my storage track over here and distribute it amongst these other two trains here. And so this is a good chance for me to kind of show you how to do some switching. And let me show you kind of what I have in mind here. Let's show you kind of how the yard's laid out. So there's 5 tracks in the yard. Well, 6. This is the service track over here. Goes to the engine facility that way. This one over here is main 2. This is main 1. This is yard 1. This is yard 2. This is yard 3. Yard 1 and Yard 2 are through tracks, meaning they're double-ended. Yard 3 over here is a stub track, although I'm probably going to change that as soon as I finish the coal mine run, because we'll need a through track to run that train. And so right now I've got my mine train set up here on Yard 1. This is the log local set up here on Yard 2. And this is the empty stake beds that we just brought up from the smelter over here on Main 1. And so what I want to do is I want to break this train up here. I want to keep this cut of hoppers over here on Yard 3. This cut of bulkhead flats need to go over here to Yard 2. And so those guys will go here. And then you can barely see it, but there's another cut of stake beds over here. We need to bring those over to Yard 1 over here. And so this gives me a pretty good opportunity to show you how to kick some cars in the yard. And so clear all that junk off. And let me show you kind of what we'll be doing. Just standing on a caboose here. So let's we're going to take number 2 over here and use her as a switch engine. Then we're going to pull this cut down the lead all the way this way. Then we're just going to kick those cuts of cars into the appropriate tracks, including the hoppers. We'll kick them back onto here. And so it'll be kind of fun. And then we'll take this engine, Yard 2, and then tack her on to, number 2, and then tack her on the train here, and then pull that train up to the mill. All right, so because that's our lumber local right there. And so just a little bit of extra work for the crew here today. Figured I'd bring you along. So here we go. Let's get to it. Hop off here. Whee! And let's go make sure all my switches are lined. Yep, we're good. Go throw some logs on the fire. Here, number 2. Some headlamps. And we'll get to it. So now switch jobs are fun. If you take the time to kind of plan them out. Oops, I missed all the logs on the fire there. Come on, there we go. If you take the time to plan them out, they go a lot better than if you just, kind of jump in there and start thinking about it halfway through. And so normally you would have a switch list, and the yard master would give you, they give you a track list, and then you'd sit down with your engineer and your conductor, and your brakeys. You'd talk about the job, what needed to be done, what were the most efficient ways to do it, things like that. And so we just kind of did that. That's called a job brief. I don't know if that's a railroad term or if that's a military term. So, but we used to use that one all the time. All right. I think we're good on water. Yeah, we're good. So, always good to check. Let's go up there and grab that switch. Nope. Both those switches, they are aligned for my movement, so we can just ride on in. And number 2 here, the Tier 2 Porter, isn't quite as good of a switch engine as Betsy is. Betsy is a fantastic switch engine. But I've got her down at the smelter. We might bring her back if we actually need to do more yard jobs in the future. But I've just been buying a couple cars here and there. And it's time to actually distribute those amongst the other trains. Other than that, we don't really have that much switching to do. Let's see. We want to go all the way down onto that cut. Yard 3. Looks like we're lined. So let's just head on in there. Gonna need a pen. Alright, in we go. And like usual, I'll do this one from the cab. Although sometimes switching is a little easier to do from the F view. If you practice it a bit and actually do more impressive things from the cab. Although I suppose now that you can hop out without everything shutting down on you, you could still do it from the F view and get out and change switches, pull pans and things like that. But once you get used to running from the cab, I don't know, it's just I guess like the immersion factor. I don't know, I just think it's fun. So firstly, oh, here we go. Let's go in here and knuckle into these cars. Some brake, some more brake. Want to give them a little tap tap. That's not too bad. Brake. And let's see, let's check brakes we got set here. 2. Oh, be it. Brake. Oh, darn it. This always happens. So, oh, Jesus. Everything's all come undone here. All right, so let me go ahead and fix this. I will definitely speed this part up because this takes a little bit of time, but that's okay. So just bear with me. We'll get it fixed. So, and see if I can find some goofy music for Alright, looks like we got everybody. So that wasn't too bad. Just took a couple minutes there. Maybe wondering why I left this last brake on here. It's because I didn't want to derail the car. It started drifting that way. And if you put a brake on the last one, when you're stretching them all out like this, you kind of know whether or not you've got everybody. And so we're going to pull this entire cut all the way out onto the switch lead here and start to break it up. Let's hop on here, give her a little bit more gas. Yeah, this engine is just not quite as powerful as Betsy, so Betsy does make for a slightly better switch engine. You want a pretty powerful little goat for your switch job. Oh, we need to change the switch. Want to go on to the lead. Don't foul the main. Go. While we do our work here. And so this track here, main 1, kind of serves as our pass-through track right now. And so if we had any trains that were actually just blowing on through Anna, our yard here, we would just line them for movement on there, and they wouldn't bother us, and we wouldn't bother them. So let's see, we need to pull everybody past the switch lead, past that first switch, which is, and probably then some a little bit. So we'll pull up to about here, where this switch lines up. That should do. Switch is lined, so we don't have to worry about putting number 2 in the dirt here. Alright, let's kick some cars. So, now when you're kicking cars, you just use momentum to actually move them. So we're going to pull this pin right here. You always leave your link on the engine end of the train. Check your brakes, make sure you got no brake. So, because you can't kick a car with the brake on. And then go line your switches. And so we want to kick those onto main 2, which is this cut right here of stake beds. And so all we're going to do, flip that switch. Make sure it's lined. We're good. Head back to the engine. We're going to get our cardio in today. And we'll just give her a little bit of gas. Kick those cars right off, right into that cut. Oh, wait. We want to make sure we got a link on this end here. Yep. There we go. So link's always on the engine end. And so that's why when you're yarding a train, you pull the link on the end that you're going to kick cars into, or just pull them on both ends. So that way, if you attach anything on one end or the other, you always know that you're going to need a link. All right, here we go. Give them a lot of warning. Full throttle. Come on, spool up. So this is a heavy cut. Like I said, number 2 here is not quite as good as Betsy. But what you want to do is you want to stop the train before that switch. And you don't want to kick them too hard because then they'll just smash into each other down there. But that should do. Let's run down here. And we can ride the cut in. And up. Let's see. We might not be able to catch it. Might have done that a little bit too hard. Then we want to hit the switch on the way back. Ah, we're good. We're good. So we got a link here. See how that coupler there is open? Gonna coast right in. Link all these up. You're coming in a little hot, you just give it a little bit of brakey brake. That. Ta-da! And perfect. Tie this one down. Let's pull the link out of here. Now the next cut needs to go. Now you just line your switches. This is where a brakeman comes in real handy. You just stay in the engine. Have someone down here catching the cuts. But this one's going to go into this track. So these 4 bulkheads are going to go into yard number 2. And so same thing. For some reason it took my link. Just to grab the wrong one, but that's okay. Stick a link in there. Pull this pin. Now we should keep the link on our end and rinse and repeat. Here we go. So forward, brake off, open her up. A good Chevy shove. And we're going to stop before we maybe about one more. Close it up, hit the brake. See if we can catch this one. They're going a little bit too fast for us. That's okay, it's still fun. Stop up here. Where's my brake? Brake's on the inside. This one. Oh, but I'll put these right on this track here, and that'll build our log local. Not coming in too hot here. A little bit of brake. Slow it down. You can always kick it off real fast. You couldn't do that in real life, but in real life it's much easier to release the brakes. It's just got this little dog catch on or dog on it to kick that catch. Brake releases instantaneously. They're much harder to tie down in real life. In fact, they got this cheater stick called a brake stick. Some of the yards have those kind of. You usually find them in cones sticking up on the side of some of these. Like this here is called the ladder. Okay, and it's where all your switches. And notice all your switches kind of go the same direction. All right. So that's for safety. Sometimes you'll see them where you'll have one that'll branch off, going in the opposite direction. That's fine too. That's just they're just trying to fit more yard tracks into a yard in that one. But if you see, there'll be cones along some of these, and sometimes you'll see this big metal stick. It's got a little hook on it. It looks like a boat hook. Use that to tie down brakes without actually having to climb up on a car. Pretty handy. So it doesn't work on these brakes. They're not facing the right way. That's okay. All right, so the last cut of cars here goes back onto that yard track. So let's pull that pin. And let's go ahead and do it one more time. Brake off. You should let them know that you're about to do this. So, but And again, nobody else should be in your yard if you're switching cars. Well, especially if you're kicking cars. So we want to stop short of this switch up here. This cut we'll be able to grab and ride all the way in. Alright, that's good. And we caught it, no problem. You're aligned all the way in. There, we can just kind of Titanic this one out. Do the king of the world thing. You would never do this in real life. You would do it over here on the side. It's a great way to become rail hamburger. And let's just go ahead and grab this last car. Here. Where's the brake? This side? That'll do. Go ahead and kick that brake on and let her go. You know it's going to stop, so... Alright, so that's all our switch jobs. Real fast. Real easy right there. All we got to do is tack the engine onto this cut right here, and we'll be ready to pull that entire train all the way over to the lumber yard there, or the lumber mill, and run our lumber local. So this is this would be like the first moves of the morning as far as my schedule goes. And so number 2 crew here has kind of a busy day. The crew of number 2 here has kind of a busy day when we give them a little bit of yard work to do up front. But I figured it was a good idea to kind of show this to you, maybe give you some ideas on how to run your yard, or at least give you an idea of somewhat how it's done out there in the wild. Let's see, nice and gentle. Oh yeah, our shop's not gonna be pissed at all. They won't even know. All right. So there we go. Did a little bit of yard work today, so got a little bit jammed up on some of the pins in the beginning, but got all 3 of our trains ready to go now, and so I'm gonna go make some money here. We'll have that coal mine train set up here real soon, so hope to see you there. Take care now.